When I think of Victorian, what pops up in my head is a lot of different style moldings. Not all from one particular era, but a mesh of a bunch of different styles all composed into one. It's really individualistic, and that's where my mind goes when I think of Victorian design. My name is Amanda Schwab. I'm an interior designer. Welcome to my Victorian modern project here in Washington, D.C. When I entered into this project, the Victorian was stripped down to the studs, and the clients had given me some inspiration images of more of a minimalist style, still with moldings that were going to be in conjunction with what the era was giving with the home. When you come into a Victorian, oftentimes you are going to get a receding ceiling height as they lower and lower and lower the farther back you go into the home. So when you design a level to be an open floor plan, you remove the walls, you have to deal with the ceiling height transitions. So that was one of the biggest kind of bumps in the road that we had, but with some design thinking, we were able to take care of that with some nice curves. Along with my studio mantra of keeping out of character, how do I guide my clients design-wise in picking out what possibilities we can do out of the millions of different options, layouts. There's so many different pathways. So we studied a lot of photos, we studied a lot of inspiration, and we ended up going with a very simplified wall-framed layout with a very tiny nose on the walls, and then we got a little bit more exciting in the ceiling with the corners thick and rich and be the most exciting part of the layout. So I was able to formulate a design for both of them, and they really, really loved it in the end. Beginning this project, it was exciting. There were so many different challenges when it came to closing up the walls. How are we going to incorporate, specific areas of wall space? Where did we want a niche? What was going to be going on in this particular area? How big did we want the dining room? How are we going to incorporate the dining room into the living space? Trying to stay aligned to what is Victorian, but at the end of the day, Victorian style is what you make of it. Oftentimes it's whatever moldings that you wanted to have in the Victorian era, what you could have. Coming into this space, it looks completely different from what it originally looked like. It was very dark in this space. We had a very long corridor, and the light, the natural light from the outside was just trying to grip into the area in the center here. But one of the biggest things that made the change was us switching from a darker stain floor, which was original, and we completely scrubbed that, and we have our own mixture here on these red oak floors, and you can barely tell that they are actually a red oak because of how nice and white they are. You would maybe think that they're a white oak, but one of the main things with the floor was determining the ratio. Had no idea how to turn red oak to make it look more white oak. So we turned to a flooring specialist, and we chatted with her for about an hour or so, just telling her the species of the wood and what the possibilities we can do and what finish we should do. And she had guided us through a couple of ways on making a 2-to-3 ratio, a 1-to-3 ratio with Bona flooring stain, and also the matte finish that we decided to put on there. So it turned out to really soften them and make them look so nice. When it came to kind of walking past the house, peering inside the house, or even having this piece of resistance that was just a very beautiful display and playful, I decided to look around, and I fell upon the company Luke Lampco. And ironically enough, the clients, they travel a lot. And so one of the inspiration images that one of the clients said that she wanted to incorporate was to have an inspiration or ode to this Swarovski lighting installation that is in the main staircase in Versailles, the Palace of Versailles. So I was like, okay, well, we can't do crystal, and I wonder what else is out there where we can get something very close in nature to that style. So I reached out to Luke Lamp. They were amazing to work with. I absolutely loved their guidance, and they sent what was called a lit sample. And so the next design meeting, I brought that lit sample in. And let's just say one of the biggest selling points for that particular lighting fixture was the awe factor, because we were able to plug it in right away and you can see how it's actually going to be living in the space. So with Luke Lamp, I knew that we can make something exciting, we can make something brilliant, we can make something that could be seen from passerbyers on the sidewalk, as something that is just going to give you that awe factor. So we were able to work with Luke Lamp to be everything and more of what the client wanted. And it really turned out to mimic that exact installation of the Swarovski crystal lighting installation in Versailles, which was amazing.